What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 177. This one's going to be kind of a fun one. It's more of a reaction video. I'm a little tired. I picked up whatever cold is going around. I don't have COVID, fortunately, knock on wood. I got tested on Friday from one of the home kits. Um, I think what's going around too, the flu is starting to go around too. So, if you look at the flu numbers on the state website, it's going up at the same level as coronaviruses, which is kind of weird. So I guess the flu exists again after 3 years of being in absenteesia. Anyway, this is gonna be reacting to what was it? The Libs of TikTok is what I want to call it. I guess that's like a TikTok community. I want to figure out. I wonder if I could put a. Am I able to put another source? I want to see if... Oh, I could add media. Let's see. General sources. Window capture. It's open on your computer. Okay. Okay, add source. Window. Streamlabs for window. Oh, what the hell is this? Oh, boy. Okay. Capture cursor. Yeah, let's do this. Okay. Did it go? Where'd it go? Window capture. Is it gonna do it? Is it gonna work? Streamlabs? No. Desktop? No. Oh, that's scary. Ah, there we go. Okay, cool. So, we're gonna just go and lower this over here. Cool. So maybe you guys will be able to see this. Sorry for audio only listeners. I know this is kind of weird for you guys. Whoa! I did not mean to do this. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, so there's this TikTok out there. I want to see if I could pull it up. Yeah, that looks good on the screen. Um, Sorry again, guys, for our audio listeners. And no, I'm not editing this. Okay, cool. So here we are. It's called How to Dismantle Capitalism 101. I'm going to play it after I read. Actually, I'm just going to play it now. Let's see if it says anything. If it's just stupid. Oh, yeah, it's just really stupid music, of course. So I do social media editing for my job, so this really irritates me, this stupid music. Anyway, it's called How to Dismantle Capitalism 101. So I'm going to go through each one of these and kind of just give my, opinion on it from a socialist perspective, because a lot of progressive Democrats call themselves socialists, and they're really not. They're just woke tards. So the first one is avoid buying from large corporations and instead try to be self-reliant or buy from POC-owned businesses. So there's some merit to avoiding from buying from large corporations, but at the end of the day, like, it's pretty difficult to. So this is probably made by someone that is actually able to, they're actually able to have access to things that aren't box stores. Like they live in a city or a large town where they don't have to go get their groceries from Walmart, which I can't really see that happening anywhere, but whatever, sure. Or they could probably, go to a coffee shop that's not Starbucks, or they could go to a sandwich shop that's not, Burger King or McDonald's. In rural America, that's a lot harder to do. Mostly because there's just not enough capital in those towns to merit, to merit that. Um, it's not possible really. When I was in Oneonta, there were some small shops, but you got everything from Walmart, and there was one or two coffee shops, and the only Starbucks was on the campus, so you were kind of forced to shop local anyway, in some cases. But in other cases, if you're in like really small rural towns, uh, your only best bet is like Dollar General and Walmart. That's like 45 minutes away. So it really depends. If you're in, a medium city, there's more options. But what I don't understand is the POC owned businesses bit of it. And it's really POC's kind of just standing for black is how they use it. And Fred Hampton was vehemently against black capitalism when he realized that advocating for black capitalism is not solving the crisis of the black community in this country. So, buying from, minority-owned businesses is not abolishing capitalism. You're just giving petit bourgeois or little capitalists money. So, that's not abolishing capitalism. That's fighting corporatism, sure. And I don't know, that seems kind of racist, I guess. like you want to not, so are we like boycotting white businesses, or is white small owned businesses or white businesses capitalist and black businesses not capitalist? Do they not all create private income, and is there not like a wealth gap between the owner of the business and the employee of the business? I'm kind of missing something here. Like, how is that not capitalism? Self-reliance? Yeah, absolutely. Like, self-reliance is one way to fight against capitalism, I guess. Building your own tomato garden, your own basil garden. I'm an Italian, as you could tell. Uh, building your own means of sustenance to a degree, but you can't be fully self-reliant. It's very difficult, especially if you live paycheck to paycheck. It's hard. It's more the startup materials, if anything. And, you need land to really, have your own farm, kind of, to have your own animals. You can still grow food. You could still collect rainwater. Like for me, I have radios in my car. Like I have CB and ham radio in my car. I'm as self-reliant as I can be, but you can't be completely self-reliant. We live in a society, and I see a lot of things on this list that highlight individual actions, which is inherently not antithetical, but it's like the whole point of socialism, right? The antithesis of capitalism is communal preservation, communal cooperation, not this self-reliance, finding your identity, educating yourself, that type of deal. That's not like we need to educate together. We need to reject individualism. That's combating capitalism, because capitalism kind of requires individualism to function. Not that you can't be an individual. I'm as individual as they come, but like the individual is not above society, and we had that happen in Supreme Court cases in this country where, where free speech was limited by you can't shout fire in a movie theater. So that's point one done. This one's the next one. Educate yourself and others to undo capitalist propaganda such as racism, sexism, and bigotry. One of the most radical things is just being a good person. Okay, so propaganda and race and all those isms are two different things. Those are two completely different things. Propaganda is a media message to do something. Racism, sexism, bigotry are some of the symptoms that can occur under capitalism to divide the workers from being united. But it's not propaganda. It can be the result of a propaganda campaign, but at the end of the day, the real racism, sexism, and other types of bigotry are resulting in not from propaganda, but from who owns the means to make such propaganda, and what is it being used for. That's how it's created. So if I own, the radio station, and I create subtleties that pit racial groups against each other, it's not propaganda that creates racism or sexism. It's the purpose that owns the radio station and uses it to create such propaganda. That's what creates racism, sexism, bigotry. It's who is behind the machinery, who's in charge of the machinery, and who's directing the workers to use the machinery in that way. Let's see. Educate yourself. This is something I really get pissed off about. A lot of the progressive Dems don't believe in collective education. They say, "Oh, it's not my business. You need to stop being ignorant and do the work yourself." That's antithetical to communism, to socialism. If the Viet Cong are able to get down in huts under the ground while they're being napalm bombed and poisoned to teach Marxist theory patiently and vigorously to the people of North Vietnam, then we should be able to do that where free speech is protected. We have clean running water for the most part. Everyone's for the most part fed. We have free speech. We have the right to assemble. We can have classes and rent out community spaces. And as long as you're just, being a good person and kind, and you ask someone, hey, can we rent your space out? Or, hey, can we do something here? They'll most likely say yes. We have such an upper hand. Yet, to do these things collectively, to work collectively, but that requires work. So it's just kind of like, oh, I don't have time for that. I have other things. So they go and they say, just educate yourself. Just do the reading yourself. And then when you tell people to do that, they end up learning the wrong thing. And then they may get educated in something that's completely fucked. So maybe instead of telling people to educate themselves, you get people together and you teach them in a classroom setting type of deal. Or in a practical setting. Maybe you build a community garden and you work together and that teaches, what's in the books. Like the Subotnik is a workers' Saturday coined by Lenin and the Young Pioneers. And on the Subotniks, Young Pioneers would make, they would work together to make projects to benefit the Union. So one of them, one of the all pioneer groups decided to build a segment of railway in Siberia. Like they just volunteered to do it on their weekends. That's like putting communist ideals into action, and that teaches the books in a practical sense. So there's multiple ways to do this. One of the most radical things is just being a good person. Not really. No, it's not the most radical thing. It's a needed thing for sure. I don't really know what the most radical thing is. I don't really like that term either. People don't like being radical. People like being fed and going to work and not being ostracized. So I don't think being a good person is radical, and framing it as such is actually going to hurt the cause of just being a decent person. Just be a decent person. Organize in protests, riots, and other things to pressure the people in power. No. There's nothing wrong with organizing, but what is it like? Organize in protests, riots, and other things. So this is someone that doesn't work. The primary place to organize is outside of your workplace at a meeting hall or something, and then talk with your coworkers about grievances, and then you form a union, and then you unionize, and you hit them where it hurts, and you go on strike. That pressures people in power because it's directly coming for their money. Organizing in protests. So this is something that's really stupid. You don't go to a protest with your little anti-capitalist group and try to radicalize people there. It doesn't work. And, the whole concept of radicalizing people is like really cringe and weird because, like, no one wants to be radicalized. People just want to have their needs met. You go there to show solidarity and to say, hey, we're from X group and we're just here to support you. And, this is what we want to fight for. And, you happen to be fighting for the same thing, so we're out to support you. And that's how you talk. Riots. You should never, do that in a riot at all. Like, what? That's not how you win people over at all. We saw that in 2020. That did not win people over at all. What won people over was, getting things passed, meaningful reform passed, which did. We have bail reform. We have police departments taking a proactive, community-based approach all across the country. We're not seeing as much police brutality anymore because of that. The riots were a part of it, sure. That definitely terrified people. The protests definitely terrified. It was like, and then there was also the union waves that were coming into. It was it wasn't coordinated action, but enough things happened at once of different calibers and different points that it scared the bourgeoisie into doing something. Find your identity, not the identity capitalist systems have placed on you. I don't feel like any identity has been placed on me. And what do you mean capitalist systems? There's just one capitalist system. The capitalist system. And that has not placed an identity on me. I choose identities that I go by, sure. Like, I'm a worker. I mean, because that's just what I am. I work. And, I'm a radio broadcaster and a podcaster and a reader. And one day I'm a skateboarder and the next I'm not. And, or I go to the gym. I'm a gym rat, I guess. But these are... Identity is so stupid. People that care about identity... It's trying to find yourself. I totally respect the process of that, but like you don't, you're just you, bro, and you have things that you like to do. Nothing's forced on you. You're forcing it on yourself. There's no identity that is being placed upon you. Let's see. Take care of disadvantaged people who cannot take care of themselves and form anti-capitalist communes. So, I just want to ask, can you even take care of yourself? Like, seriously, this sounds like I used to talk like this, like in this really like vague, and you could hear it on the podcast, like in earlier episodes. Like I used to talk like this, like organize and just unionize and blah blah blah, and it's like, bro, like how? You know what I mean? Like take care of disadvantaged people who cannot take care of themselves and form anti-capitalist communes. Okay, so do you want to be like a CNA? Because if you want to be a certified nursing assistant, you could just go to any nursing home or hospital and do that. Although I recommend you don't because, just don't. It's terrible work. But sure, I mean, if you feel like wiping up someone else's shit, go for it. And form anti-capitalist communes. Wow. We tried this in 2020 with Chaz. It didn't work because no one knew how to take care of other people, let alone themselves. Their farming methods were terrible. And it collapsed internally, and then they sent in the military to break it up. So they really mop it up because, you guys did it yourselves. You imploded yourselves perfectly fine. Yeah, how do you even form an anti-capitalist commune? How do you do this? These are all things like this person is posting stuff that's just like spitballing terms and like things that require like a series of things to explain how to do. So like I don't even know what that means, anti-capitalist communes. Like am I going to go out in the desert and build a place to live? Am I going to go in my city? Like are we going to take over our apartment building? Like what do we do? And how do we maintain that? Is there going to be a state structure? Is it decentralized? Is it anarchist? How do you prevent, takeovers? How do you get food? How do you get water? How do you treat diseases? What if there's a cholera outbreak? Like what? It's just like what? Vote for socialist and progressive, typically Democrat or third party, in your local elections. They have a huge impact on your community. I'm kind of mixed on this. Vote for socialist and progressive, typically Democrat or third party. So, yeah, I mean, like, I vote third party just because, like, the party resonates with me. I mean, local elections do matter, but I wouldn't say, like, Democrats as a whole are progressive or socialist. And saying just, vote third party, and I'm totally guilty of this too. Like, I'm not going to shit on this person completely for that. Like, I'll say just vote third party, but you'd end up voting for a libertarian in some cases. Like, saying, vote third party may end up being like, okay, I voted third party and I voted libertarian or conservative party. And honestly, I really don't care if people vote that way because, like, I just want a third party to win. I really don't care if it's from the left or the right. But, because it would just be such a blow to the mainstream establishment. You know what I mean? It would just be like such like a fuck you. I have no problem voting for socialist parties. I agree with that, and voting locally does have an impact. I can't even get mad at this person for that, actually. Just all my critiques about this, forget it, except for the fact that Democrats are not socialists. The only socialist parties in this country is the Communist Party, the Party of Socialism and Liberation, the Democratic Socialists of America, kind of, and the Green Party. So those are the only like socialist parties. So if you see them in your local ballot, vote for them. They're pretty cool. And yeah, it does have a huge impact in your community. It does. I'm just so pissed off about the other stuff. I just want to shit on this, but that's actually a decent point. At the end of it, the person concludes, control the narratives, show how current problems relate to capitalism when it comes to prisons, systemic racism, war, imperialism, etc. Control the narrative, show how current problems relate to capitalism when it comes to prisons, systemic racism, war, imperialism, etc. Yeah, that's true. You could show how current problems relate to that. There's nothing wrong with that. That part I don't disagree with at all. I just don't like the first part. The most of this up until vote for socialist and progressive candidates. I honestly would have saw this, laughed, and then just swiped off because it's like this is insane. I don't know how like you get to this conclusion from the first thing. I guess I'm looking at it too harshly from like an essayist point of view, but I mean, like, I agree. Like, we can control the narrative. That's something we can do. But like, how do you control the narrative when you don't have any capital or any production capability? Like I have a podcast, right? And there's a bunch of people that do have leftist podcasts and like alternative media. That's how you control the narrative. Stuff like this, that technically, yeah, you are controlling the narrative that way. I can't really argue against that. I just wish that the poster just said control narratives of capitalism by showing XYZ. If you vote, in your local elections, that has a big impact. And, here or make things that say here's how to be self-sufficient. Like, this is all just like you were really hopped up on reading a news article, you had a cup of coffee and you were just fuming. Or you just got out of your ALS class, your Africana Latinx Studies class, as it was called in my university, and you're just like, oh, I want to do something, I want to do something. Yeah, I'm itching for a fight. I'm itching for some good trouble. So you go and you do that, and you decide, hey, you know what? Oh man, everyone just saw my Reddit name. Fuck. All right. Well, now you all know what I do. Yeah, I just don't see this as like, it's called How to Dismantle Capitalism 101. Like, this attitude is all over the place. Like, this person is spitballing everywhere. I really wish that I really wish that it was a little better. And I see this a lot on like progressive Democrat trends. And they'll just like spitball like these words they learned from their books and they don't really know what it means. And it's kind of like this arrogant, and I have this arrogance too, like, don't get me wrong, but like I'm at least like willing to talk to people and hear them out and not let that get like when I'm ranting by myself, I sound like a douche, and it's because I'm ranting by myself. But I guess what I'm trying to say is they just sound douchey, like, and they don't know what they're talking. They don't know what they're talking about, really. Like none of this makes any sense. Like an anti-capitalist commune, right? A communist commune, a commune. That requires a lot of detailed work to put in. There was another fucking thing they said. Avoid buying from large corporations. I mean, most Americans can't do that. Like POC-owned businesses, right? Like, one, woke grift, and two, like, it just makes everything sound stupid. A lot of this stuff, like, and this is from shit liberals say, it's like a let me see if I can find what the description says it is. It's a Marxist, it's a communist subreddit for satirizing liberals from a far left perspective. So, and I like stuff like this. Like, I'm coming at my critiques from the liberals from the left that it doesn't make sense most of the time, and a lot of it's just like a grift, and to support other forms of capitalism, like black capitalism or Asian capitalism, when most of them are white, and they're ending up just shooting themselves in the foot because they're racializing everything. And since there's teams and you can't seed your whiteness, you're gonna be screwed. If you just went down the socialist route, the traditional route, of class consciousness, having to organize along class lines, you wouldn't have to do all this silly stuff. You would just say, hey, we should focus on community, self-reliance and support, you know, our local shops and, boycott Walmart and instead, maybe have like a communal grocery store or, or open a grocery store where where it's unionized, and it's a local store with local produce from local farms. And maybe we encourage the farmers to work together collectively, and share their resources and pool their resources and their profits to fight against Monsanto, that type of thing. Instead, it's like, oh, support black business and, don't go to Walmart. And if you do, you're a bad socialist because you didn't go to the vegan Green Mart. It's just so stupid. That's basically like my whole argument about it. You guys also couldn't see my emails, my email function, which is my email right here. Ah, no, get away from me. Jesus. I love, what the hell is this thing called? Streamlabs? I love this thing. Let's put it up here. I need like a better color with this. Maybe if I do that. Okay, but you guys can't see that anyway. Ah, that's a shame. Well, it doesn't really matter because, this is kind of the end of the episode anyway. Now I'm just spiraling and I'm exhausted. But basically, my critiques were already made. Jesus Christ. Stop doing that. Okay. My screen was going everywhere. Basically, I made my critiques already. So thanks for listening so far. If you want some weed, a good discount on weed, you can go to Jackson Cannabis. Not Jackson Cannabis. It's buyoregonhemp.com, and they sell Jackson Cannabis, which is this really cheap cannabis company, but their stuff looks pretty good. If you use my discount code CANNA15, you get 15% off your order, and their eighths are like $33. So whatever 15% off of that is, I don't do math. You get some pretty cheap, good cannabis. So, yeah, definitely run that up. Use my code. Let me know how it is. And, yeah, until next time, my friend.